Hi, I'm Kathy Dodgen.
And I'm Jocelyn Lindsay. Welcome to another episode of 5 Minute Indie Insights, where today we are in the second of a series where we are talking about author websites. And today we're going to be talking about 3 levels of website development. Now that you've decided you need a website, go back to the first episode in this series to figure out if you need a website. Now we're going to talk about you've decided you need a website. What are 3 levels of development you can think about in terms of complication and expense in building that website? Do you want to start with the first level?
Absolutely. And we talked about this a little bit last time, but it's worth saying again. Get your URL and then just do something quick and easy and cheap unless you have the real need for it. So one of the things that I've done is my publishing website is on Canva. I have a professional level of Canva, but you don't even have to. I just attach my URL to it. I've got this one page website, and that's it, right? It can be really easy and cheap. And there's also some free services. Like I use Wix for my other website. They have a free version. It's got the Wix branding. Does that matter, right? Is that important to you? Because if it's not, just use it because it gives you that spot on the web. And that's really important. And that's what a website's about, whether you're querying or you're a new author that's just self-published, but you don't need a lot of functionality from your website. You don't need the payments. You don't need a store. You don't need, all the other things. Just do something quick and easy.
Yeah, and
And cheap.
especially low tech skills required.
That's a
Lots,
great point.
yeah, it's having worked with a lot of authors building websites. As a designer, my go-to was always, can you manage this without hiring a professional? Can you do this yourself so you are not dependent on somebody else coming in and doing it? So I think when you're at this tier of simplicity and cheapness, it should also be no tech skills required so that you can do what you want to do.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point. And there are a lot where you can just use a template, dump in your own pictures and your own text, and you're good to go. If you're trying to build an email list, there's probably a form or even just a, contact me button. But again, yeah, keep it simple because this is for people who don't have the need for a lot of functionality. So don't pay for it if you don't need it.
Oh, don't. Yeah, do not pay for it. Uh, at this level, at this moment, you do not need to have a website that is like totally personalized, totally branded, totally one of a kind, totally unique. You just need something that's clean and professional that's out there that when people come to look for you, they find you and see, oh, look, here's an author. Here's how I contact them. Here's their mailing list. Here's their book. Here's whatever I need from them in a very professional way. And I would say at this point, that's what matters, that it looks professional and it looks finished and it hasn't been sitting there for 10 years with no updates.
Yeah, and we'll talk about design in a later episode, but you do want it to reflect who you are and the genre you write in. So if you write horror, don't have an all pink website that parts reviews. It's just a pay.
So moving up to level 2, I think this is where we start getting into like the DIY platforms. This is the I can figure this out option. And I think of this as best for like authors who are comfortable with technology, who maybe want a little more control and are willing to invest some time into learning. And that's where, I use Squarespace. I know Kathy uses Wix. I think WordPress, certain WordPress templates might be included in this, though I would say WordPress is leaning more towards the technical side of things. But or you have a Shopify store. But this is where we start getting a little more expensive and a little more technical.
Right. And I think this is great. A lot of the websites, author websites out there, the authors actually did themselves, or maybe their husband or best friend did. And I think, Jocelyn, we should show them just briefly our website. Like, it's have to tell you, even if, like, I have 8 books out there, not that many people go to my website. Yeah. But it does have a couple things that are important. And one of them is this is a pop-up so that it's so easy to sign up for my newsletter list. So I just hit refresh on that, and in just a few seconds, that'll pop back up. I've just got my latest. Shoot, there it is. I've got my latest book. I've got my bio, and as I get another sign up, I happen to link my Instagram and have a few other things. But look, I only have a couple of categories, just home and books. Now, I've got a lot of back end functionality that I use. I do my weekly newsletters through this and other things. But you can see this is really simple. I'm not a designer, not that many people go there. So I'm not overly worried about fabulous design and all of that. It's this point in my career, and this is something that I do 100% myself.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, you don't have to wait for you don't have to wait for your developer to answer a phone call to come in and change 6 words.
That's
And
so important. I'm so
Yeah.
glad you said that.
Yeah.
I can do everything myself. New book comes
Yeah.
out, I stick up the new cover, new whatever. I do
Exactly.
100% of it myself.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not paying somebody, you're not waiting on somebody. One of my biggest frustrations that I dealt with a lot is cleaning up the mess of somebody whose developer or designer quit and went like AWOL. And now what do you do with your site? How do you upgrade? How do you? Yeah, so there's a lot of headaches that can happen with websites. And so my thought is always, not only do you want to control the URL, you want to control the real estate that it is on. And when you get to a point where when you're looking at this level 2, you want to be in a place where if your site is hosted through another company, if they suddenly decide they're going to open a donut shop and not do websites anymore, you still want to be able to get your website out of that, or you still want your website. So I'll show mine here really quick. Let me push the right buttons. Maybe. I think I'm gonna push the right buttons. There we go. Share. Let's do 1. Can you see it here?
There, now I can.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so here's mine. Here's the header. Again, like Kathy's, I have only a couple things up here: home, about, books, and contact. Sign up for my email list. Here are my books. Here's how you can start. Here's the latest release. Here's some quotes. Here's, just some things. And then here's sign up for my email list again. So keeping it as simple as possible at this point, because like Cappy said, there's not hundreds of people coming here. I get a few people coming through. I really want it to be like a snazzy looking business card. And, like I said, I've developed websites for decades. I still want mine to be simple. I'm not going for something really extravagant and extreme just because I have the skill set. I want it to be clean. I want it to be professional. And I want it to be something that as an author, I can just like go in and do in a couple minutes, update in a couple minutes and move on, because what I really want to do is be writing these books. My job is no longer working on websites. I either want to be working with coaching clients or writing, and not spending my life with the technology trying to fix my website.
And that's a great point. And I mean, you have a really beautiful, well-designed site because you have those skills. Me less so, but I still was able to use the template and get the stuff I needed on there, and I'm not going to worry about it right now.
Well,
because that's just the way it is. So this is kind of a mid-level author website, right? Now, someday you're going to hopefully be a best-selling author with tons of books out there, and you're going to need a fancier website. And at that point, you're probably going to want to have it professionally designed. Especially if you're someone who's, I'm technologically fine, I don't have a design background at all. And so I wanted to real quick share the screen one more time and show you maybe. um, like they had beautiful, fancy, but still relatively simple,
The
right?
design is still very simple and clean and professional.
Yeah. So,
But
but I guarantee you, Lee Child is not there working on the back.
no,
And then one of the links, this is kind of old, but one of the links that I do want to stick in the show notes are BookBub has this 45 author websites of stellar designs, and it's just fun to kind of look through. You can really see the different how this is clearly fantasy, that magic, probably maybe romance, can't really tell, but you can see the different kinds of websites and how they look different for each kind of author, and so just keep that in mind, right? As you
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think as we tell writers to look at comp titles for books, go out and see what your the comp titles for websites are. What are the other authors in your space putting up? How are they appearing in websites? What are they doing on their websites? What do their websites look like? And we'll talk about this some more when we get to the design stage. But I think you can start thinking about these when you're thinking about like the levels you want. Kathy's absolutely right. When you get to a certain place, this level 3 is you're making real money and your time is worth more than the cost of a website. And we're talking here we're talking thousands of dollars here now. We're talking $5,000 or $10,000. We're talking big money for doing that. And you have specific functionality needs. You have maybe complex Shopify, complex e-commerce. You maybe have a membership site. You just there's other things you should be doing than dealing with a website.
Right. I think that's super important. And you talked about functionality, and that's a huge part of it. So, with my website, I do my weekly newsletters through it. I manage my contacts through it. I don't have a store on my author web page. I'm still linking to like Amazon and bookshop.org and things like that. But I can do purchases. So if I go to an event, I can do tap to pay at my dot. It goes through my website. And, that way it's super easy to handle the taxes and everything else. So get the functionality you need and nothing more. And the one great thing about this mid-level that we're talking about that a lot of authors use is that just like I can go in there and update my website anytime, I can manage all of this other stuff myself. And having it all in one place makes it really easy to do that.
Yeah.
And, I can't afford someone to do all of this for me right now. But that use Wave makes it super easy to do it for me. So get the functionality you need for whatever level you're at. One of the great things that you can probably do through a website or through something like ConvertKit is you want your welcome sequence, to go out. A certain number of emails to new clients. So I run all of that through my website. So figure out what you need in terms of functionality and make sure you can do it yourself until you're at a level where you can pay someone else.
Yeah. And one of the things that I see happen with a lot of writers is I should hire someone become another form of procrastination and perfectionism from either the procrastination from writing the book or the perfectionism from even like, I can't go out and get my URL because I'm not ready for a website. And I don't know what to do with a website, so I'm not going to do a website. I can't hire someone. Get the URL. And if you do nothing else, it's less than $20, get the URL, and then go finish your book.
Right. And you bring up such a good point because once you have a website you can play with, you can spend all day playing with the website.
Oh,
don't do that. It's a tool. It is just a tool. It is not part of your writing. It's a way for people to get to you, to find it to your newsletter, perhaps to get your emails, perhaps to buy your books. That's it, baby. Don't be in there every day messing around with that stuff. You need to be writing. Just
I'm laughing because when you say it's a tool, I think of like, I got a new hammer. Now I got to run around and hit everything with it. So no, put the hammer down. Nail the pants pen. Yes, do the things you need to do with the hammer and then go away. Put it down and go away. All right. So yeah, there's like we think of websites as 3 levels. Know what you need. Don't get, don't get paralyzed. Figure out what you need to do what you need to do, and then move on, get your book done. So, all right. So thank you for joining us for this part of the series. Now we're going to move on to the next part of the series. Come along with us. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us some comment. Leave the URL. If you have a website, give us your URL. I would love to look and see what your websites look like.
absolutely.
It's like looking at book covers, or, I love seeing what people are doing out there. So yeah, and if you don't want to leave us your website, or you don't have a website yet, give us the URL for your favorite author's website, or a website that you really like right now in the book arena. We'd love to see it. So we're going to head over to the next episode. Come along with us. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you in the next part of the series.
Yeah.
Bye.